Welcome back, student. This is the last video of the chapter Control and Coordination. In this video, we will learn about the control and coordination in plants. In the last video, we learned about the control and coordination in humans, that is nervous system and the endocrine system. Both the system we have learned. In this system, we will learn that how it is controlled and coordinated in plants. Now, what are the things that needs to be coordinated? That is growth of plants. Number one, growth of plants. Number two, germination of seeds. Number three, flowering of plants. Number four, ripening of fruits. Number six, shedding of leaves. Number seven, movement of plants. Plants can do movement but can't do locomotion. Why? What is the difference between movement and locomotion? Movement is that when you can move your body part, and the locomotion, that means when you are moving from one place to the another. That is locomotion. Clear? Next, now what is the difference between animals coordination in plants and plant coordination in plants? Now, control and coordination is more complicated in animal like the all other system, but it is much more simpler in plants. Animals have nervous system as well as endocrine system for control and coordination. But the plants, they do not have any nervous system. They have only endocrine system for control and coordination in plants. Like means control, not endocrine system, they have hormones. They have hormones for which are responsible for control and coordination in plants. Animals have specific glands to secrete hormones, but they do not have any specific gland. Plants do not have any specific gland for secretion of hormones. Now, now we will learn about the plant hormones. Okay, the first is auxin. Auxin is responsible for the control. It is responsible for the growth of stem, fruits and roots. It is responsible for the growth of stem, fruits and root. The next hormone is gibberellin. Gibberellin, it controls the growth of the stem. Gibberellin growth. It controls the growth of the stem, breaking dormancy of birds and seeds and growth of fruits. Cytokinin is responsible for the cell division, growth of plant by cell division, functioning of stomata, breaking dormancy of seeds. This type of hormone present more in seeds and fruits. The cytokinin is present more in seeds and fruit. Abscisic acid, it inhibits growth. It controls shedding of leaves. The leaves which are shedded randomly, it controls it. Functioning of some stomata and promote dormancy of seed. Okay. Now, there are two types of movement in plants. One is tropic movement and the other is nastic movement. Now, what do you mean by tropic movement? Tropic movement or tropism. It is the movement of plants in which direction of movement is guided by the direction of external stimulus. Clear? I am repeating myself. It is the movement of plants in which the direction of movement is guided by the direction of external stimulus causing this movement. Nastic movement, the next movement. The nastic movement is the movement of plants in which direction of movement is not guided. In the tropic movement, it was guided, but in the nastic movement, it is not guided by any stimulus, by the direction of any stimulus. That means in tropic movement, it depends on the direction of an external stimulus, but in nastic movement, it does not depend. It is not guided or directed by any stimulus causing the movement. Now, tropic movement. Tropic movement happen as a result of a growth of a part of a plant. It's a result of a growth of a part of a plant in a particular direction. In a particular direction. Now, tropic movement can be of many types like phototropism, geotropism, hydrotropism, chemotropism and thigmotropism. Now, we will learn about each and every tropism in detail. Phototropism. Phototropism is the growth movement of plant. From photo only you can understand that it is related to light. Okay. So in response to light, there is a growth movement of part of the plant. Now growth towards the source of light is called positive phototropism. When there is a growth towards the source of a light, it is called positive phototropism. When there is a growth away from the source of light, it is called the negative phototropism. So in positive phototropism, we can take an example as stem because it grows towards the light, towards the source of light, whereas the roots, it grows under the soil, right? So it is a negative phototropism. Why? Because it grows away from the source of light. Clear? I am repeating again. The stem, okay, it grows towards the source of light. It is above the soil, right? And the root, which is under the soil, and it grows away from the source of light. It is a negative phototropism. Now, what is the mechanism of this phototropism? Auxin, you can see in the picture, auxin hormone causes growth in the plant of the stem where it is present more amount, but it prefers accumulate more in region of stem, getting less light. Getting less light. When light comes from top, all side of the stem gets same light. When the light is at just at your overhead, it gets all the sides of the light get same light. When the you can see the position of the sun. You can see the position of the sun when the oxygen is uniformly distributed in the stem and stem grows straight. But when light comes from one side, see when it is coming from one side, the oxygen hormone gather at the other side. On the other side, you can see the light is coming from this side, the oxygen hormone is gathering on the other side. See, the oxygen hormone is gathering on the other side and causing more growth of that side, and as a result, see, this diameter is much more than this diameter. It is causing more growth of on the that side, and this leads to bending of stem towards light. This leads to bending of stem towards light. Now geotropism. Geo means only you can understand, it can be related to gravity. When stem and root of plant move against and along the direction of gravity. When stem, it is, sorry if there is a incorrect spelling. Stem and root of plant move against and along the direction of gravity. It is called geotropism. Stems usually show negative geotropism to get light and air, right? Because it shows negative. When stem and root of plant move against, because definitely stem grows above the soil, so it grows against the gravity, right? So it shows negative geotropism, whereas root, it shows positive geotropism. Why? Because it goes towards the gravity. It goes towards the direction of gravity to get water and nutrients from soil. The stem needs light and air, that is why it grows away from the gravity, right? It grows above the soil, that is why it is a negative geotropism. Whereas the roots shows positive geotrophic movement. Why? Because it goes towards the gravity, in the direction of a gravity to get more water and nutrients from soil. Now hydrotropism. From the word hydro only you can understand it is related to water. Okay. So when movement of root towards water, it is called hydrotropism. This shows a positive hydrotropic movement. The movement of root, because it needs water, right? So this is why it shows a positive hydrotropic movement. Growth hormones in root are responsible for bending of root towards the direction of water. From where they need water, in that direction only the root bends. Why? Because they need water for their survival. If there is a scarcity of water, the roots can wilt. It can dry up. Clear? Now, thigmotropism. It is the growth movement of stem of some plant over a surface influenced by touch. It is influenced by the touch. Thigmotropism is influenced by touch. The plant grows in a way so it can coil around a support. It grows in such a way so that it can coil around a support. These movements are seen in creepers, like example money plant. Example money plant. Now, as we know that the oxygen is responsible for the growth of the plant part, so the amount of oxygen reduces in portion of stem touching the stick. It touches the stick. More oxygen is present on the other side of the stem, which results in more growth on the other side, right? This leads in the bending of stem around the contact surface, and this is why it leads the bending of stem around the contact surface. Now chemotropism. Now this is the structure of a pollen tube ovary. Now see, these are the pollen grains. This is the structure of an ovary. This is the pollen grains. Okay, and this tube which has been extended, this is known as a pollen tube, and this is you can see the opening. This is a micropyle from where the pollen tube secretes its sperm, and this inside this it is there are ovule. And as we know that ovary has three parts: stigma, style, ovary. The style connects the stigma and ovary. Okay. Now movement of parts of plant in response to chemical stimulus. From chemotropism only we can understand it is related to stimulus chemicals. In positive chemotropism, movement is toward the chemical. When there is a positive chemotropism, the movement will be towards the chemical. When it is a negative chemotropism, the movement will be away from the chemical. Now, growth of pollen tube from the pollen to ovary under the influence of chemical is released by an ovary is an example of chemotropism, because until and unless it doesn't fertilize, the fruits will be not produced, right? So this is why by the influence of chemical, the pollen tubes reach to the ovary, so that the pollen tube germinates. The pollen germinates, sorry, the pollen germinates. Now nastic movement. So as I told you that there are two types of movement in plant. One is tropic movement and the other is nastic movement. Now in nastic movement, in which direction of response is not dependent, but in tropic movement it was guided by the direction of the stimulus, but it is not guided by the direction of the stimulus. For example, when we touch the leaves of Mimosa pudica, touch me not plant, its leaf fold inward, right? The drooping is independent of the direction from which the leaves are touched. It does not depend that from which direction it is touching, it simply droops down, right? Such movement happen because when we touch the leaf, an electrochemical signal travels. An electrochemical signal is traveling to the pulvinus, and this pulvinus is a joint. What is pulvinus? Pulvinus is a joint at the base of a plant leaf. Pulvinus is the joint at the base of a plant leaf which is tightly filled with water. Due to this, it remains firm. Due to this only, it remains firm because it is tightly filled with water. It is intact. It is turgid. It is in a tight state. So due to this, it remains firm and holds the leaf upright. When the electrochemical signal reaches to pulvinus, the signal makes pulvinus loses its water. This electrochemical signal let the pulvinus loses its water and thus firmness also. As a result, it droops down. It like a flaccid condition. Okay, so the leaf fold inwards and droops. If it is left for 15 to 20 minutes, water come back to again pulvinus and leaves become upright again. If it is again left for 15 to 20 minutes, if it is not touched, again the water come back to pulvinus and hold, as we know that it will tightly fill with water the base of the plant, and as a result the leaves will become upright again. So this was all about the chemical coordination in plants. So if you have any problem, please kindly let me know so that I can clear your doubt as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Stay at home, stay safe.